Good afternoon. Buenos tardes. Salam. Good afternoon. It's been a long time since I've been live, and I am coming to you live today from San Miguel de Allende. First, let me tell you who I am. My name is Amina Hanan. I am a lot of things. I'm a consultant, I'm a writer, and I moved abroad. Last year, I moved to San Miguel de Allende, so I live here in the Central Highlands of Mexico with my husband and our two cats. And so I'm coming to you live today from our new home. And yeah, it's been a long road. So I have my libations. This is not wine. This is hibiscus that I made myself. It is one of my favorite drinks. And so today's a celebration. It's a dragging and a cautionary tale. So if you're here in the comments, say hello and let me know if you can hear me. I have my AirPods in because for some reason the birds are super loud around here today. So I have my AirPods in today. So if you're here, say hi. Let me know you're here. If you see in the future, just say hello. Let me know you stopped by. Like I said, it's been a while since I've gone live, but I'm here today. And like I said, salute. And I'm celebrating. Hola, hey Diane, how are you? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm celebrating a year. I call it a year because in June of last year, I came down and got my place, even though I didn't move down to November. So I've been here a year now. So I have my I have my drinks, and we're gonna get started. So, like I said, it's been a year, even though I didn't officially move down until November. But I counted because in June I came down in 2025 of last year. Hola, hey Danielle, how are you? And so I came down in November. We officially moved down here in November, but it's been a year since I've had my place. So a lot of people say, because I've been through a lot, I'm going to get to that part. Thank you. Happy Mexiversary. Thank you, Diane. So I've been here and I've been through a lot the past 2 months. But I've had people ask me, would I choose San Miguel again? And I would say definitely yes, I would choose San Miguel again. I would choose San Miguel again because of the local people here. I would choose San Miguel because of the Black expat community here. I would choose San Miguel because of its beauty and its opportunities. I would also choose it for the food, not the food in the big restaurants, but the food that the local little mom and pop shops. I would choose it for that reason. So that's why it's a celebration for me. I had people ask me, "Are you going to move, go back home?" For a minute, I was contemplating that, but then I was like, "No, I'm having way too much fun, and I don't feel like I've gotten everything out of San Miguel that I can get out of San Miguel." So that's another reason why I'm not leaving. I'm trying to adjust my camera. So my house purse today, hey Cheryl, hola, is my special guest today is my house purse. If you saw me on Rashida's channel last year, you would know about the house purse. So my house purse is my special guest today in this video. So again, I choose San Miguel again, basically because of its location. I moved abroad, but I also want to stay close to the U.S. because I still have family in the U.S. and because I want to be able to go back and forth. Again, to me, the Black community here in San Miguel is second to none. I love the community here. Um, there are so many people here that I have yet to meet, but the people that I have known before I came and the people that I've met have been here, so have been top tier and stellar. The people that I have met, a lot of the locals and a lot of the Mexicans that are moving back from the U.S., Cheryl, they have been amazing. So I want to talk a little bit about why I call it a dragon. When I first came down to San Miguel, I got a place. It was in a Pravada. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely neighborhood. It was great, but it was isolating. And also, I did what we advised in Exodus Summit and Exodus ASAP for women not to do. I got the big house because I was like, oh, people are going to come and visit. It's going to be great. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. People are not. They'll come and visit, but it'll be on their own time. So I was like, okay, we're isolated. I want to move to a place where I can see more people, where it's walkable, where I can practice my Spanish. I wanted to do all those things. So, my friend Melissa, hey Mel, if you're watching in the future, she is a realtor here. So she started to help me look for a place. I found a really cute place. It was in a really nice local neighborhood, and I loved it because it had the doors of San Miguel. If you know, not familiar with that concept, San Miguel is a place where there are doors, and if you go behind, once you open the door, you never know what's going to be behind there. It was what I thought was a beautiful garden. It was really lush. Had pomegranate trees, aguacate, which is avocado. It had lime trees. It was a really, really beautiful, a beautiful on the exterior of the house. It had a separate entrance because I do want to open a business here. It had a separate entrance where you could go in. So I thought that was I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. So we move in, and like the second night that we're there, it's rainy season. It starts raining. My friend Mel calls it a canoe. It's like we were living in a canoe because the house is mostly made of glass. It was not sealed. So there's water coming in from from everywhere. It's crazy. So I took a video, took some pictures, sent it to my landlord. I said, "Hey, I have a new rooftop garden, so get ready because it's gonna be here. I'm gonna tell you guys about this place soon." And so I was like, "Hey, it it is it's flooding in here." I was like, "The windows need to be resealed or something needs to happen because it's coming in from the upstairs or downstairs." And so she texts me back, "Well, it's gonna have to wait 2 weeks because I don't have any money." So immediately, I wasn't upset immediately. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm dealing with this water situation or whatever. So we were able to plug up some of the holes with like towels and stuff and, kind of, make it look a little better and deal with it. And so I was talking to Mel and she was like, well, the rainy season is just starting. She was like, if she doesn't take care of that, it's going to get worse. So I went to sleep, woke up, and I looked at the message again and I was like, what do you mean you don't have any money? I just gave you a deposit. I just gave you rent. The lease says that you have, 5 days to fix things that are not properly working or whatever. So she didn't respond. So I said, okay, I'm going to try to make it work. So I started trying like to fix up things and I was like, okay, because like I said, I love the house. It was the right price point. I love the neighborhood. It was right by San Juan de Dios Market, which is a big market here that a lot of the locals go to in San Miguel. And so I was like, oh, this is going to be great. There were cafes and it was walkable to Central, like 20 minutes. So it was just a perfect place. So I started talking to different people, telling different sisters, what I was going through, my friends at home, my friends here, friends abroad. And they were just like, you didn't move to Mexico to fix up that lady's house. Like, don't do that. Because at first she was like, well, just take it out of the rent. And so I was like, So at first I was thinking about it, but then one of my sisters, she gave me, dash out to Diane, she gave me an attorney that I used before. And so I reached out to the attorney and I told her what was going on. She said, well, number one, she's already violated the lease by saying that she doesn't have any money. It's going to take her 2 weeks to fix things. So if you want to move, you can just move because she's already violated the lease. So I was like, okay. And she was just like, it's her responsibility to fix up her home. She said, if you start doing that, at one point, it's going to get to a point where she's going to say, well, my house is fine. You don't like that, but, don't take that out of your rent because my house is fine. So I was like, okay. So I told her, I just sent her a text. I said, hey, plus I started to feel ill because I suffer sometimes with an autoimmune condition and it can be triggered by mold and debris and different things. So I started to feel really ill. So I was like, okay, I have to get out of here. So I went ahead, I told her we were moving. She was like, okay, that's fine. So then this lady decides that she's going to start contacting me like on the day of that she wants to show the place. So I told her, I said, honey, you have to give me at least 24 hours notice if you're going to show the place because we still live here. We're still living out this month of rent while we find another place. And she was just like, well, nobody's gonna steal anything. I said, it's not about you stealing anything. It's about, you being plus I'd already changed the locks. That's number one. I'd already changed the lock, so there was no way she was getting in without us being there. And I said, plus I have my cats here. You know, people will leave doors open. Your cats will be, will run out or whatever. So I said, no, I said, you have to wait until we're here. So she finally agreed to do that. But it was just, everything was just like, it was so begrudgingly. It was like, then she starts telling me things that I have to pay her for. Now, mind you, in Mexico, you get an electric bill every 2 months. And she's like, oh, you owe me like 500 pesos for the electric bill. The electric bill hasn't come out. That's number one. Then she's like, oh, well, you owe me for the water. You're paying for the water and the lease. So eventually we were able to find another place. We were able to move out. But let me back up for a second. Before I moved from that house, I lived like I said, I lived in a really nice provider, but it was isolating. I contacted that realtor and told her, hey, once our lease is up, that owner, and I said, once our lease is up in June, we're moving. She proceeds to tell me that no, you can't move because your lease doesn't end until October. You have to wait. You said you were going to stay for 2 years. So I'm reading over the lease, and I automatically noticed that there were two leases. And on one lease, the English lease said that my said that my lease was from June 2025 to June 2026. My other lease, the Spanish lease, said that it was from June to October. So again, sent it to the attorney. She looked at it. She said, this lease is not going to hold up. She said, it's too convoluted. She says, plus, she signed both leases. She said, and really, from now on, when you get a lease, and I thought I had an attorney that was reputable look over the first lease, but apparently not. She said, there's the leases should be side by side, and it should be line for line, English, Spanish, and then you both sign the lease, and that way, she said, because Spanish isn't your first language. So I said, okay. So I told her, I said, well, we're going to move. The lease is not going to hold up. You can keep, because I gave her two deposits because I had cats. I said, you can keep the two deposits and we'll be out by the end of June. By June, I think I told her like June 30th or something, because depending on when the dates fell. Might have been before that. And so she was like, well, no, you're going to have to pay me a penalty. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to do that. And so the attorney was like, you don't have to pay her anything. You lived out the lease. You paid her a year's worth of rent plus some. She's gotten her due. And she was like, plus, why would anybody say that a lease goes from instead of June to June to June to October? She said, no, what she's trying to do is she wants to kind of force you to stay or put her in a position where she can rent the place because it'll be cold in the US and people will be down here. The snowbirds and people will be coming down. So she wants you to rent the lease. She wants to have a better time leasing the home. So I moved out, gave her keys back, and we left. So that's how we ended up in the other house. And there was another thing about the second house, and one thing, and this is part of the cautionary tale. If you are thinking of moving abroad, if you are thinking of moving to any country, I can especially say this for San Miguel de Allende. Make sure that you have a good attorney. Make sure you have someone to review your lease. It's not going to be as expensive as you think it is. Just for the lease review itself, she reviewed my lease, my new lease, and she also gave me counsel on my first lease, and it was like $60 US for both. So you want to make sure that you have, and you also want to check and make sure that the attorney is reputable. There's a group that they started here in San Miguel, and it is for people to learn about slum landlords basically in the area. So someone who's a local there, she put in, I think she's a realtor, she put in a registry how you can go and check and make sure that your attorney is legal. Because sadly, and this can happen anywhere. There are people who will hang up shingles that will say that they are attorneys. They will say that they are landlords. They will say that they are realtor, and they're none of those things. So just like you would do in the States or anywhere else, you want to do your due diligence to make sure that the person you're working with is a reputable professional. And you can find out, and that's why Facebook groups are priceless when you're moving abroad. And if you can find a really good one where it's not just like, hey, am I going to be safe? Hey, what am I going to, and there's nothing wrong with those questions, but I've seen it in a lot of groups that that's all they put is just stuff like that. So you don't want to be in a group like that. You want to be in a group where it's really helpful to you and you can really find out information. So we were able to come, and the place that we're living in now, that's where I'm coming to you live from now. I looked at this place before, but I didn't. I wanted to be in a more local area, and I was trying to get out of the Pravada. But what I've learned from this experience is that when it comes to my husband and myself, of us living together, I think that we're going to be provider people. I didn't mind the noise in the neighborhood. I didn't mind the motorcycles. I didn't mind the tamale people coming by. I didn't mind the little girl according that comes through that says she's buying like old mattresses and junk. None of that bothered me, but it drove my husband crazy. The motorcycles, he didn't like the motorcycles late at night. And so I was like, okay, I think we're going to be provider people. And we're going to be provider people for two reasons. Number one, like I said, my husband, I don't think he likes the noise when we live in just the neighborhoods. And also, I think I'm a new construction person. There are sisters here who have like really, really beautiful homes. And I mean, like the homes are really beautiful. They've gone in, they've painted, they've remodeled, they've done. I'm not that person. And I realize that I'm not that person and I've accepted that. So I think we're going to be providing people just for number one, just the new construction, and for number two, just for the quiet for my husband. So it's not a security issue. I didn't feel unsafe. Even though we were living, not in a gated community, it wasn't any of that. The neighbors were nice. The shop owners, everybody around there was nice. We didn't have any problems. It was just the noise and the disrepair of the house. Now, the house that we're living in now, it's just not a house, it's a penthouse. And it's the smallest place we've ever lived in, but I like it because it has balconies, we have a private rooftop. And like I said, it's small, but it's cozy and it's quaint and it's easy to keep. So I don't have to, as far as like having someone come in, like cleaning a lot, I don't. I can do like a deep clean once a month and then I can keep it up. And I don't want to say that my plans for the house because I just got here, but I was like, this would be perfect if. So I'm gonna live in the moment and just be happy and just be here, explore the neighborhood, enjoy the community. Again, we have a pool, there's a workout center, we have a meeting area. So I'm enjoying all those things and we live like really close to it. So I'm gonna just sit back and just enjoy those things. We can walk to like it's the Bodega Herrera, which is the Mexican Walmart. We can walk there. If we, put our hiking shoes on, we can walk to La Comer and City Market, which is like the local supermarkets here. So we're not that far from Central. So it's been pretty good. And so what I want to say is that the cautionary tale is whenever you decide to move abroad, whenever you decide to go, you want to make sure that you have the community that you meet before you come because they kind of help initiate you in. And then there's the community that you make when you're here. So a community and a good attorney that will help you, you know, get through a lot because it can be daunting. Like I sat down once we got here and I was able just to like to breathe and I started feeling better. I sat down and I just started looking like the bank receipts. Like in 1 month we had to put out like $4,000 just to move. So, because when you think about it, it's the movers, it's the deposit, it's the security, it's the old bills that you have to pay. Whatever you have to do, you have to think about that. And I heard someone say that like when you first move abroad the first year, like you'll be hemorrhaging money, and it's true. Until you get settled, you'll be hemorrhaging money. And one thing that I really wanted to do when I lived here is I wanted to continue to have a local landlord. And I really, I really, really tried. Those two ladies, they were Mexicans. One was local, and one she lives the next city over. But I was just like, at this point, I just want a little bit of peace of mind. I don't like. You know, I'm from Chicago. I say it a million times. I have no problem with you being polite, but don't ask me about my family and my husband and my cats, and then you trying to stick me for my paper. I'd rather you just be like, girl, what you want? And let's talk like that. So our landlords now, it's a Canadian couple. This is like an investment property for them, probably a retirement property. We're about the same age. So they have so far like no plans to come down here. Now, there are some cons. We live by a cheese factory, which is very interesting. We're praying that it turns into a bakery. It's not 24 hours around the clock. That's the good thing, but it's just really interesting. So far, the neighbors here have been great. It's quiet. Like I said, we have a private rooftop, we have balconies. It's modern. It's not huge. My first house started to feel like a museum to me in some ways. So that's the good thing about it. Wait a minute, let me back up and go back to the dragon for a minute. Now this lady that we rented the second house from, whenever I move into a house, I didn't get an alarm. I had a guy come in and give us a quote for an alarm. It wasn't expensive, but when I asked him like how's the monitoring work, he was like, "Oh, I monitor it myself." Sir, I'd rather just take my chances with just us monitoring our own home for security before I just have like one guy monitoring my house. Plus, like, what does that even mean? So I was just like, so I always put like these little sticky things up, and you can put them on chime and you can put them on alarm. And like I say, the house is made of glass, so there are doors everywhere. So that way we can hear if someone opens and closes the door. So I put those up in the house. So when I moved out, I forgot to take them down because I have like a box of them. I even used to use them at home, just like because even though at home we had a real alarm system, I would just keep those on, just so people, so we could hear the doors open. And so when I left, I forgot to take it down. So this lady goes on Facebook and she goes, "Does anybody know this black lady named Amina? She left my house. She left the alarm on. She left it dirty. She didn't do this. She didn't pay the bill. She didn't." All lies. Okay. So how it works down here when you have a realtor, the realtors split or they get the deposit. So Mel, my realtor, she was like, "Well, I'll pay for the cleaning, I'll pay um for your bills. I'll take it out of my commission since I had to give some of that back anyway." So I was like, "Okay." So because she got a commission on the second place we moved to, so it was not a big deal for her. So that's what she did, and she paid for the cleaning, electricity. Yeah, those are the two things that she paid for. So this lady, and she's like, she left my house dirty. She left the alarm on. She left it. None of that is true. So, cause when I moved out, I blocked her and her realtor because while we were moving, he decides he wants to come and walk around while we're moving. So I told him, I said, "Sir, I said, you can't be here while we're moving. You have to leave." I said, "Once we're done, you can come in and you could do a walkthrough if you want to." So he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna leave." So he left, and she was outside waiting too because she wanted to get the keys. So he told her to leave. So when we were done, and then she's like trying to ask my movers, like, "Hey, do you know where they're moving to? Do you know?" And my mover came in, and he was like, "I told her I didn't know where you were going. Like, I just told her I didn't know." So, so I was just like, this is just like such a bizarre experience. And so she ended up leaving. So when I left, I said, "Hey, come and get the keys." She was like, "Well, I'm not anywhere near there. Can you?" I said, "Well, what I'll do is I'll lock all the doors. I'll put the keys in the garage and I'll close the garage door because they had a garage. I'll close the garage door and then you can just use your opener to come in that way." And so she was like, "Okay." So that's what I did. So she puts this thing on Facebook and she puts it in this community. And I'm just like, I didn't see it. Mel saw it, and she sent it to me, and she was like, "Can you believe this lady?" She said, "First of all, she got paid what she was supposed to get paid," and she was like, "And why would she put this up here like this? It makes it seem like, oh, you shouldn't rent to black people." Now Mel is Mexican. She her family lives here, and she moved back. She's from Chicago, but she's Mexican, so she moved back down here. And so she was like, "Why would she put this on here?" She's like, "I don't like this." So she goes under her post and basically tells her, like, "Hey, shows her the receipts from the bank and says, you need to check with your realtor because I sent him the money and these are the receipts, the bank transfers." And she was like, "You can't make false accusations in Mexico. It's basically like it's against the law. It's considered slander and it's taken very seriously." So she erases it. Now, at first, I wasn't going to, well, she didn't erase it at first. I wasn't going to say anything about her in the bad landlords group. But when she did that, it pissed me off. So I went to the bad landlords group and I posted, like, "Hey, don't rent this house." And I posted, like, our text message receipts. I just reposted a few, not all of them, because I had a bunch of them, just like crazy stuff that she was saying. So then time goes past. I guess she joins the group because she I see her posting her place because like San Miguel is a small place. The groups they're gonna overlap. You might see your landlord in a group. You might see your neighbors in groups. It's gonna overlap. So she joins the group and then she tells me and she responds to my comment and she says, "You are a nasty, horrible person and I wish you would go back to your country." It tickled me because I was like, "Girl, you must not know about me. You must not know about my people. You must not know about my history. You telling me to go back to America, it means nothing. I've had worse things said to me." So I responded and I said, girl, I was not going to say anything about your house until you posted this. And then I posted the screenshot of what she was like, does anybody know this black lady? So long story short, last time I checked, she was still trying to rent the house. But even with all of that, like I said, I would still choose San Miguel. I don't feel like I've gotten everything that I have to get out of San Miguel, because I think that when you first get somewhere, you're landing, you're trying to settle, you're trying to learn the lay of the land. I think that's what I've been doing. Then with the old upheaval with the two moves in 1 month, I think it kind of shook me off balance. Plus, like I said, I was sick for a minute from that house, and so I had to recover. So um, I just been like unpacking my house. I still have more to do. That's my office over there. I still have more unpacking to do, so I can get my office together, so I can work on my rooftop garden. I want like a vertical herb garden, tea garden, so I need to work on that. So those are the things I've been working on. So when I first got here, Mercury was in retrograde. And one of the first things that happened, if you're not a woo-woo person, you're probably not going to be into this. My computer stopped working. Like my main computer and my backup computer. So at first I was like, well, let me see if there's an Apple store here in San Miguel. There's no Apple store. They're like authorized affiliates. So I was like, well, let me order a new computer. That can take like 4 to 6 weeks. So that is one of the cons of living in a small town. If I was in Mexico City, I would take it to the Genius Bar. I probably wouldn't get it back. I talked to Rashida and of Exodus Summit, and she said that they've had her computer for like 2 months. So I was like, okay, at this point, I'm going to have to either have someone bring me a computer, or I'm going to have to just get a new one. So I think what I'm going to do is, there is an authorized Apple place here. I think I am going to leave it there, see what they can do. And I think I'm just going to buy just like a little streaming laptop. And when I have time, I'll make my way to Mexico City and just buy a new laptop. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully they can fix these. Or I'll leave an old laptop there and see how long it takes them to fix it. So that's one of the cons of living just like outside of America, where things were like, I would just like take my take my laptop to the Genius Bar, send it with somebody, they would go fix it, it'd be done in like an hour. If it takes that long, and it's just done, it's just over. So that's one of the cons of living outside the US in a small town. I don't think it would make a difference if I was in Mexico City either. Because electronics, just like in Mexico, are just more expensive than in the US. And that's one thing I was telling my husband. I was like, we're gonna have to make a trip to the US just to like, not necessarily like upgrade our phones, but just to make sure, because when you work online, you have to have, your backups. So I think we might have to make a trip just to get some electronics and grab some more of our stuff, and then come back down. So that's one thing that we have to do. I'm just looking at my notes and see if there's anything that I missed. No, I think I got everything. Today is one of our favorite drivers. His birthday celebration today at his home. So I'm excited because this is like my first uh, real like Mexican fiesta. So I'm excited to go and celebrate with him and his family. So that's going to be really exciting. He was asking us like what food we wanted. We're simple. Like my husband, he'll eat salmon, but he doesn't eat meat. So we just like some simple things. I like chicken. I will eat beef every now and then. So, and one of the sisters who lives here, she's going too, and she was asking him like, well, what can we bring? What can we? He was like, don't worry, everything is gonna be there. So I'm super excited about this fiesta tonight, and I hope it doesn't go too long because I'm starting a new series, and that's one thing I want to talk about. Looking forward to the future. So now that I feel like I'm solid out of a home and I'm settling in. I want to start a writer salon here in San Miguel. I wanted to open it up to black men and black women, but so far black women are responding. So I'll hold a placeholder if there's a black man that wants to join, but it looks like it's going to be just black American women so far. So I put the feelers out for that in one of the groups. So I have to send a text out to them. So I'm just doing more writing. So tomorrow I'm starting a Journal with Me series here on my channel. It'll be 6 o'clock a.m. live Central Mexico time. I don't know if that's like 7 in the US, maybe 8 on the East Coast, 7 Central. It's going to be a series where you're going to go through the hero's journey. And it's not about um, the cards or anything like that. We're using the cards as a guide. And if you ever wanted to learn tarot, or anything like that. It's a chance for you just to deepen your study, but it's through the lens of your own self. What does your hero's journey look like? What are you going through? What are things that you are striving for? Because with everything that's going on in the world, there's a lot of external gazing going on, and that's always good. You know, I'm a good person. I like to look at what's going on in the news, even in the US. I like to check out what's going on in the news. But at some point, it's not what's going on, but just how you react to it. And so I think that deserves a little bit of introspection sometimes and just some internal work that it's fun to stop and reflect. So even if you can't make it live, I'll have the whole series up. We're going to take a card a week because I was as I was creating the journal prompts, I was like, there's so much that can be gleaned just from from one type of the major or the minor arcana. So we're going to take one card a week, and we're going to have a different journal question every day. So if you want to, just like, subscribe, and just share. And um, I think that's everything I have now. Like I said, I'm going to try to go live more regularly. I promise that I promised Stephanie like 3 weeks ago or something like that I would do a chakra series because I'm a Reiki master. I would do a chakra series. So look out for the chakra series. I'm going to do just some small short videos just explaining what the chakras are and how in relationship to our body. And I'm doing that for Stephanie Perry. So so look out for that. And let me just take a minute to read my comments. Um, House on Road was beautiful, but when it's time to go, exactly. It was a beautiful house, but like I said, it was isolating and it was like super quiet. Like where we live now is quiet, but I can still hear my neighbors like when they're talking on their balconies. Somebody had a party the other night. Like I don't want to feel like I'm living in a ghost town. Like I don't like that. And Diane said a good attorney makes all the difference. Yes, that's true. And I thank you for giving me that referral because it made all the difference. And thank you guys. Yes, I do feel really much better. I feel much better. What's Dr. Cheryl saying? What happened to the ASCB techie? I cannot remember her name. I think she's in Asia. I don't know. I have to look and see who she is. But like I said, I think I don't like I said, I don't know if it's Mercury in retrograde. I don't know if it's just time for me to get some new laptops. I don't know. But they just stopped working. So one of them just kind of like locked me out. And it wasn't like a cyber attack or something. It was just like I think it's like a firmware. I think I punched the wrong button. Like I said, but I also think that happened because it was time for me just to relax. I think that after everything that I've gone through, I think it was just like that was just like God's way of saying you need to relax, take some time, get your house together. Because when I first started going through what I was going through at the house, I threw myself into my work. I was like, okay, let me work. I got a new client. I was like, let me figure things out. I got another client. I was like, let me just work. And I don't think it was a season for that. I think it was time for me just to really slow down and just like it's okay, you're gonna be fine, and just just relax. And so that's what I needed to do. I needed to relax. So that's what I did. So any questions about anything else before I get up out of here? Take another sip of my it's Jamaica. We call it hibiscus in the States. But I want to thank everyone for coming to my live session. Like I said, I want to try to go live more, grow out my channel, do some more writing, do some more explorations. If you are watching this in the future, like, comment, subscribe, share, say hello. If there's anything you want to know about living in San Miguel de Allende, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I can give you a newbie's take on it. So um, just come through and let me know. Yes, Jamaica is delicious. See you in February. All right, guys, take care. Have a good afternoon.